everyone, my name is Sarah Buckley and I teach 8th grade science here at Park. Wanted to make this video just to give you a little bit of information about my class, and then of course if there's questions tonight at back to school night, I'll be live from 6:30 to 7:30, and then anyone watching this video later in the year, if you have further questions, which I'm sure you probably will because this is going to be pretty short, just let me know. So I just wanted to go over a few things in my class. I'm going to share my screen in just a second, as soon as I pull up some documents. So the first thing I wanted to talk about would just be the rules that I've gone over with my students. So give me 1 second. And there it is. I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to share my screen. And I'm hoping that you can see the screen here. So here are the rules that students kind of wrote down and we discussed together. My class, definitely the COVID rules are very important. Keeping masks on while inside class and inside the hallways. Masks need to be above the nose and so on. Obviously, we want to keep anybody from getting sick if we can help it. It's very important to me for students to be on time. So the criteria is they need to be in their seat when the bell rings at the beginning of class. Third rule, again, the respect thing is very important. The respect that students show me is important to me. The respect they show to their classmates. And it's also very important to me that I show respect to students. It kind of goes 3 ways there. So that environment of respect in my classroom is really, really important. For number 4, under class rules, I've told the students, they've heard this since 1st grade, they need to follow directions, basically do what I ask them to do with written and verbal directions. And then finally, I just ask that students give their personal best every day. I can work with anyone that comes to class ready to try. Consequences for rule violations. Basically, the first thing I do is give a verbal warning, maybe a dirty look. I move closer to the student. That seems to not be working. I'm very lucky. I have a really large classroom, so I can put students kind of in the back of the classroom by themselves. So they're still in class and they can still learn, but I've kind of moved them out of the area where things started not to work. I'll change seats if it looks like students are sitting in a place that they can't be successful, or they're distracted, or they're distracting other people. Wellness room is a good place for students to go just to kind of get a timeout. They get to leave the room. I get to think about what I want to say to those students when they come back. All very non-confrontational. OCI is the new word for OCS. Usually when I send kids to OCI or OCS, I have to write a referral, but I don't really have to write a lot of referrals. I am usually able, with the first 2 consequences there of a verbal warning and a timeout, I'm able to keep students in class. And then if things are really bad, I've warned a student repeatedly, or they're just really disrupting the learning environment in my class, I will have to write a referral. If I write a referral on your student, I will definitely make every attempt to contact you so you can hear from me what happened versus hearing it from a vice principal. In terms of supplies, I'm really easy. I really like them to have a binder. You can see that this came from a binder. I give them a lot of hole punch pages. I'm going to want them to keep them in order because it actually helps them stay organized. It helps them keep track of their work. And it also helps them to know what we did in class when they were absent. In terms of anything else, really, pens and pencils, a good supply of those would be good. And then there's a vocabulary pack that I give them that they should keep in the front of their notebook all year long. I'll show you that in just a second. That's really important because they will have weekly quizzes based on this vocabulary pack. And then recommended, not required supplies. Some people don't want their students sharing supplies. So the other things we might use would be color pencils and highlighters. I pretty much have everything, and I try to keep things pretty tidy and clean. So that's not necessary. I have all those things, tons of them actually, for students to use or borrow. Into grading policies, I do accept late work. I think it's important that students do their work. So I will accept late work for reduced credit. In general, students can turn late work in up to about a week after the assignment is due. Past that, it's just too long. So I will accept it for reduced credit. Even if they do the work late, they're still learning. So I don't want to not accept late work. Incomplete work, I'm generally going to kick it back to them and say you need to finish. I don't grade incomplete work just because when I assign work, it's done with the purpose of seeing whether students understand the concept. If they don't finish it, I'm not convinced that they understand what to do. So no incomplete work, it's going to get kicked back. Grades are very standard. The standard grading scale, there it is. At progress report time, I'm very scientific about what ARIES says in terms of the grade. At report card time, and I've told them this, I'm much more forgiving about grades. So if a student had a 79.9% at report card time, there's no question that grade's going to get bumped up. And then grading breakdown, I will say, especially this year, most of my grade comes from what they do in class. I'm not going to give a whole bunch of homework this year. Some of it's due to COVID. Some of it's really just my philosophy that I think the best learning occurs in class. I know they have homework in other classes, so you won't see a ton of homework from me. So the categories, and these categories are in ARIES, class activities, that's 35% of the grades. Homework is 10% of the grade. That's probably giving it too much because, again, we do mostly everything in class. We are going to have weekly quizzes. That's 40% of the grade. Other assessments might be a lab. I don't give a lot of big tests. I think they're tested enough in other classes. So a weekly quiz, and I can assess or evaluate them by doing labs and things like that without doing a whole bunch of tests. And then their binders are a big part of their grade, keeping it organized at the end of the quarter. If they can show me their binder organized and up to date, they're going to get a nice shot in the arm to say, in other words, I'm going to give them points for staying organized, and it may help them improve their grade. I told them I've taught at Park for a long time. This is my 23rd year. So I've noticed that students that do well for me have certain characteristics. The first thing is keeping those binders organized and up to date. It's so important. I'm not a huge textbook teacher, so I tend to not use a textbook a lot. So that binder is kind of like their textbooks. Students that are successful for me use their class time wisely, and they complete all assignments. They ask me for help if they don't understand what to do. They make sure that they turn in high quality work. And again, if a student does not understand what to do, I'm definitely here to help. Number 4, I've changed this year because of COVID. Please, I want them to come to school if they're feeling well, but if they are feeling sick, it really is best if they stay home. And I am going to be very forgiving about that. I certainly don't want to punish someone for staying home when they're not feeling good, because that really is the right thing to do. And then missed work has to be made up if students are absent. If they're out because of COVID, there's a packet that takes place of the work. So if they do the packet, that should take the place of anything we do in class. So if they miss a quiz and they're out because of COVID, that quiz is excused. They just need to do the packet. And again, I do want them to communicate with me if they need help or they have any questions or things don't seem to be going well. And then there's a couple little extra credit opportunities. And this is, most of it's due to COVID, but any of these can buy some extra credit points. Extra credit can only be earned once a quarter. So let me come back to you. And then one more thing I do want to go over, and I'm going way too long, but they do keep a binder for me, and they do keep a table of contents for me. And you can check their table of contents to see if they're staying up to date. And you can see they should be keeping their returned work from me in their binders. So you can check the scores on those assignments with the scores in ARIES. So again, it's helpful for parents to take a look at those binders. But give me 1 second and let me pull up what their table of contents looks like right now. And we fill these out every day. Let's see, I think it's this one. Every day when we come to class, here it is. So let me come back to you. Again, I'm going to share my screen. So there is an example of a table of contents. So this takes us through today's assignments. You notice the pages are numbered, And as they get work back that's scored from me, they should keep it in their binder. They can also tell if they've been absent what they missed. So for example, someone missed today of school, they would know that this is the assignment they missed. They would know to get that from me. So this will really help them stay organized. I spot check these once in a while to make sure that they're doing this. And again, it's just an organizational thing. And then one other thing, actually, let me just see if, let's go back to this. And the other thing, this is the vocabulary packet I'm talking about. It's called Middle School Science Facts, Vocabulary Terms. It's on their page 1. It's a huge packet of vocabulary terms and then some basic science facts. They're going to have a quiz on this once a week. They don't have to look at the entire packet. What you're going to see from me once a week is a crossword puzzle with the actual facts or the vocabulary terms that are going to be on that quiz. I generally give that crossword puzzle out on Monday or Tuesday, and then the quiz is on Thursday or Friday. So I hope this helps a little bit to explain about my class. But again, please feel free to contact me. And if you're looking at this at back to school night, again, come to my live question and answer session. I'm really happy to answer any questions you might have. All right, well, thank you.